While the world scrolls through the flashy lives of the new rich on social media, a different kind of wealth resides silently in the heart of London. This is old money. Fortunes so vast they own entire postcodes, and heirs so private they don't have a public profile. This isn't the wealth of influencers or tech entrepreneurs. This is the wealth of dukes, earls, and barons, measured not in trending stocks, but in acres of prime real estate held for centuries. These are fortunes built on royal charters, strategic marriages, and literally the ground beneath London itself. Today we're counting down the dynasties that London's richest old money kids, all under 18, are set to inherit. You won't find them on Instagram. Their inheritance isn't just a bank account, it's the weight of a dynasty, the stewardship of a legacy, and a life lived behind the high walls of private estates and the discreet gates of Britain's most exclusive schools. Because for these children, the greatest luxury is not being known at all. From the family that owns half of London to dynasties built during the Tudor era, these are the lives of the world's most secretive young heirs. Number 10. The heirs of the Spencer dynasty. Kicking off our list at number 10 is a family whose name is intrinsically linked with the British aristocracy and the royal family itself, the Spencers. While the most famous Spencer of the modern era was Diana, Princess of Wales, the family's roots and wealth stretch back more than 500 years. The current patriarch is Charles Spencer, the 9th Earl Spencer, and his children are in line to inherit a fortune and a legacy that is both profoundly historic and culturally significant. The family's net worth is estimated to be around $150 million. While this may seem modest compared to others on our list, its source is pure old money, land, titles, and a history of strategic stewardship. The Spencer fortune didn't start in the glitzy high-rises of London's financial district. No, it began in the fertile pastures of rural England. The family originally accumulated its wealth through sheep farming in the Tudor era, a venture so successful it allowed them to purchase the land that would become their ancestral seat, Althorpe, in 1508. For over 5 centuries, this single 13,000-acre estate in Northamptonshire has been the heart of the Spencer dynasty, less a house and more a small kingdom. The estate even generates its own revenue through tourism and events, a classic old money strategy of making heritage pay for its own upkeep. For any young Spencer, life is a constant negotiation between a very public legacy and a private existence. The heir apparent, Louis Spencer, who is over 18, shows the path his younger relatives will likely follow. The pressure on the younger generation, including Earl Spencer's children from his third marriage, is immense. They are born into a world where their family name carries the weight of one of the most famous women in history. Their lives are expected to be discreet. Unlike new money, where wealth is often a tool for building a personal brand, for the Spencers, it is a responsibility to be managed. The future for the under-18 heirs of the Spencer line is one of careful guardianship. They will inherit not just the Althorpe estate, but also its priceless art collection and the immense burden of its history. They are taught that they are not owners, but custodians for the next generation. Their challenge will be to navigate a world of intense media scrutiny, a direct consequence of their aunt's global fame, while upholding the centuries-old tradition of aristocratic privacy. It is a life of immense privilege, but also one defined by the long shadow of the past. Number 9. The heirs of the Percy dynasty, Dukes of Northumberland. At number 9, we venture north, to a family whose power is as ancient as the border they were once tasked to defend. The Percy family, headed by the Duke of Northumberland, represents one of Britain's most powerful and landed aristocratic lines. With a history stretching back nearly a millennium to the Norman conquest, their wealth isn't just old, it's feudal. The current Duke, Ralph Percy, oversees a family fortune estimated at over £500 million. His children are the next generation of a dynasty that effectively owns large swaths of the north of England. The source of the Percy wealth is the very soil of Northumberland. For centuries, they were the wardens of the Anglo-Scottish border, a role that gave them immense power and land. Their primary seat, Alnwick Castle, is the second largest inhabited castle in England, after Windsor, and is more famously known to the world as the real-life Hogwarts from the first 2 Harry Potter films. But their holdings extend far beyond this cinematic landmark. The family controls Northumberland Estates, a corporation managing over 100,000 acres of land. Theirs is a wealth so tied to the land that it has withstood wars, political upheaval, and the Industrial Revolution. For the younger Percy children, life is a world away from the London-centric elite. Growing up involves navigating the vast grounds of Alnwick, a home that is also a major tourist attraction and film set. Education is, of course, at the highest level. The Duke and his heir, Earl Percy, both attended Eton College, and it is almost certain the younger children will follow a similar path. They are raised not as London socialites, but as future custodians of the North. The future awaiting the young Percy heirs is one of immense responsibility. It involves managing a modern, diversified business that includes not just agriculture and property, but also tourism and green energy ventures. They must learn to balance the preservation of heritage sites like Alnwick with the commercial pressures of the 21st century. They are expected to be hands-on. The current Duke worked in land management for years before inheriting the title, setting a precedent for his children. They are inheriting a role that is part CEO, part regional guardian, and part living historical figure, a burden of legacy that few can comprehend.
Number 8. The heirs of the Cavendish dynasty, Dukes of Devonshire. Coming in at number 8 is a family whose name is synonymous with political power and one of the most magnificent stately homes in England, the Cavendish family, led by the Duke of Devonshire. The current Duke, Peregrine Cavendish, presides over a family fortune estimated at around £900 million. The heirs to this dynasty, including the son and heir William Cavendish, Earl of Burlington, and his children, are set to inherit not just a fortune, but a cultural institution. The origins of the Cavendish wealth lie in the shrewd acquisitions of Sir William Cavendish in the 16th century. But it was his wife, the formidable Bess of Hardwicke, who truly cemented the family's financial foundations. Through a series of advantageous marriages and her sharp business acumen, she amassed a colossal fortune and built the first house at Chatsworth. The family's wealth grew over the centuries through land ownership and strategic marriages. The crown jewel of their holdings is Chatsworth House, a 35,000-acre estate that is a world unto itself. It houses one of the most important private art collections in the world and operates as a major tourist destination. The life of a young Cavendish is one of privilege surrounded by breathtaking art and history. The children of the heir, the Earl of Burlington, are growing up in a world where masterpieces by Rembrandt and Lucian Freud are family possessions. Their education would be at the highest level. The current Duke attended Eton and Cambridge, and their upbringing steeped in the family's tradition of public service and cultural patronage. The family motto, "Safe through caution," speaks to a long-term conservative approach to wealth management that is passed down through the generations. They are taught that their role is not to spend the fortune, but to enhance it. The future for the next generation of Cavendishes is one of delicate balancing act. They must oversee the Chatsworth House Trust, the charitable foundation that runs the estate, ensuring its preservation for the public while maintaining it as a family home. This involves managing a complex business with over 500,000 visitors a year, a farm shop, hotels, and a global brand. The current heir, a professional photographer, has already shown an ability to bridge the worlds of tradition and modernity, a skill his children will need to master. They are inheriting a national treasure, and with it, the responsibility to ensure its legacy endures for another 500 years. Number 7. The heirs of the Scott dynasty, Dukes of Buccleuch. At number 7 on our list is a family whose wealth is measured in literal landscapes. The Scott family, headed by the Duke of Buccleuch and Queensberry, is Scotland's largest private landowner. Richard Scott, the 10th Duke, controls a dynasty with assets estimated in the billions. His children are the heirs to a land-based kingdom that stretches across an astonishing 217,000 acres. The source of this immense wealth is centuries of land accumulation and royal favor. The family descends from Sir Walter Scott of Buccleuch, a 17th-century border nobleman, but their fortune exploded after Anne Scott, first Duchess of Buccleuch in her own right, married the illegitimate son of King Charles II. This royal connection brought titles, power, and vast grants of land. Their holdings now include 4 major estates: Bow Hill, Drumlanrig Castle, Dalkeith, and Boughton House. Their wealth is the earth itself, encompassing farming, forestry, and increasingly renewable energy projects like wind farms. For the young heirs of the Buccleuch line, life is a rural upbringing on an almost unimaginable scale. The family seats are not just houses, they are palaces filled with priceless art, including works by Leonardo da Vinci. Education is, as expected, of the highest caliber, designed to prepare them for the enormous task of managing one of Britain's most significant landed estates. The children are raised with a deep connection to the land and a philosophy of long-term stewardship. The future for the under-18 members of the Scott family is one defined by the term custodian. They are inheriting not just assets, but ecosystems. The role of the Duke of Buccleuch in the 21st century involves navigating complex issues of land reform in Scotland, environmental conservation, and the commercial viability of traditional rural industries. They are being prepared to lead a multifaceted, modern corporation that is rooted in feudal history, a life of immense, almost sovereign responsibility. We're only halfway through our list, and the scale of this hidden wealth is already staggering. These aren't just fortunes, they are empires built over centuries, and the children set to inherit them face a life of unimaginable pressure and privacy. If you find this glimpse into the world of old money fascinating, make sure to subscribe. Now, let's continue the countdown. Number 6. The heirs of the Portman dynasty. Moving up our list at number 6, we encounter a family whose name might be less famous than a duke's, but whose London footprint is just as significant. The Portman estate comprises 110 acres of prime central London real estate centered around Marylebone. The head of the family is the 10th Viscount Portman, who, along with his relatives, oversees a fortune estimated to be around £1.9 billion. The younger members of the Portman clan are heirs to one of London's great property empires. The origin of the Portman fortune is a classic tale of London's westward expansion. The story begins in the 16th century with Sir William Portman, Lord Chief Justice to Henry VIII, who acquired a large Tudor estate. However, it was his wife, the formidable Bess of Hardwicke, who truly cemented the family's financial foundations. Through a series of advantageous marriages and her sharp business acumen, she amassed a colossal fortune and built the first house at Chatsworth. The family's wealth grew over the centuries through land ownership and strategic marriages. The crown jewel of their holdings is Chatsworth House, a 35,000-acre estate that is a world unto itself. It houses one of the most important private art collections in the world and operates as a major tourist destination. The life of a young Portman is one of unique blend of aristocratic tradition and corporate finance. While the family holds a title, their power lies in the boardroom of the Portman estate. Education would likely be at elite institutions that produce the next generation of Britain's business leaders. They would be raised to understand property law, urban planning, and long-term investment strategy. They maintain a determinedly low profile. They are landlords on a colossal scale, not public figures. This philosophy of discretion is a core value passed down to the next generation. The future awaiting the under-18 heirs is one of urban stewardship. They are not inheriting a sprawling country estate, but a dense, dynamic, and hugely valuable slice of a global city. Their responsibilities will include overseeing major redevelopment projects and navigating the complexities of London's planning regulations. They will need to be savvy business leaders, capable of modernizing the estate while maintaining its historic character. It's a role that is more CEO of a multi-billion-pound real estate firm than a traditional landed aristocrat, yet it is a position secured entirely by birthright.
Number 5. The heirs of the Rothschild dynasty, UK branch. At number 5, we have a name that is not just synonymous with wealth, but has become a global byword for it, Rothschild. While the Rothschild dynasty is a vast international family, the English branch has been a pillar of the British establishment for over 200 years. Putting a definitive figure on the family's total wealth is notoriously difficult, as it's spread across numerous descendants and private trusts, with some speculative estimates reaching incredible figures. The UK heirs are born into a legacy of unparalleled financial power. The Rothschild story began in the late 18th century Frankfurt ghetto with Mayor Amschel Rothschild. In a stroke of genius, he sent his 5 sons to Europe's 5 main financial centers. The son sent to England, Nathan Mayer Rothschild, founded N.M. Rothschild & Sons in London. His success was meteoric. He famously financed the British government during the Napoleonic Wars, and the family's wealth grew exponentially by funding railways, vast infrastructure projects like the Suez Canal, and governments across the world. For a young Rothschild growing up in the UK today, life is a study in paradox. On one hand, they are heirs to a name that evokes images of unimaginable luxury. The family built magnificent estates like Waddesdon Manor, which has been owned by the National Trust since 1957, though the family remains involved in its management. On the other hand, they are raised under a strict code of privacy, a necessity born from centuries of being the subject of speculation and conspiracy theories. Education is of the highest international standard, and from an early age, children are immersed in a world of finance, art, and philanthropy. The future for the young Rothschilds is less about inheriting a single estate and more about taking their place within a global financial and philanthropic network. They are expected to be multilingual, financially literate, and culturally sophisticated. While some may enter the family's banking businesses, others pursue careers in science, art, or environmentalism, often backed by the family's extensive charitable foundations. They are being groomed not just to be rich, but to be influential, continuing a dynasty that has shaped world events for over 2 centuries. Number 4. The heirs of the Howard de Walden dynasty. Our 4th entry brings us back to the heart of London, to a family that owns 92 acres of one of the city's most prestigious districts, the Howard de Walden family. With a family fortune recently estimated at over £4 billion, this dynasty is one of the wealthiest in Britain. The estate, primarily covering Marylebone, includes the world-famous Harley Street. The heirs to this vast urban portfolio are born into a world where their inheritance is written on the city's street signs. The family's title, Baron Howard de Walden, is an ancient one, but their vast London wealth came much later. The core of the estate was inherited in 1879 through a strategic marriage, transforming the family's fortunes almost overnight. As London boomed, the Marylebone properties, particularly the streets around Harley Street, became immensely valuable. By encouraging doctors and medical specialists to set up their practices there, the family strategically cultivated the area into the world-renowned medical district it is today, a masterclass in long-term estate management. Life for a young heir of the Howard de Walden family is centered on London. The family has always been deeply private, shunning the limelight. Education for the heirs would be geared towards business and finance, preparing them to take the helm of what is, in effect, a massive property corporation. The current heir apparent, Peter Chernin, is a successful film producer, demonstrating that while the core business is property, the family encourages its members to excel in other fields, while never losing sight of their ultimate responsibility to the estate. The future for the under-18 descendants is to become the next generation of stewards for this unique part of London. Their duty will be to maintain the delicate balance of Marylebone, preserving its historic architecture while ensuring it remains a vibrant commercial and residential area. They will oversee a portfolio that includes not just medical practices, but also high-end retail and cultural venues. Their lives will be governed by board meetings and investment strategies, all while adhering to the family motto, not for whom, but in what manner. Number 3. The heirs of the Cadogan dynasty. At number 3, we find a family whose name is stamped all over one of London's most glamorous and expensive postcodes, the Cadogans. Headed by the Earl Cadogan, this family owns the 93-acre Cadogan estate, covering much of Chelsea and Knightsbridge. The family's fortune is estimated at around £5.5 billion, making them one of the richest families in the United Kingdom. The young heirs of this dynasty are set to inherit a significant piece of London's luxury heartland. The Cadogan family's path to immense wealth began with a strategic marriage in 1717, when Charles Cadogan married the daughter of Sir Hans Sloane, a physician who had purchased the manor of Chelsea. As London expanded, the Cadogans masterfully developed their land, creating the elegant streets and garden squares that now define the area. Like the other great London estates, they held on to the freeholds, leasing properties and allowing their wealth to grow in lockstep with London's property values. Today, the Cadogan estate is a portfolio of luxury retail, high-end residential property, and office space, making Sloane Street a global destination for designer shopping. For a young Cadogan, life is lived at the epicenter of London luxury, yet, paradoxically, it is a life of programmed privacy. The children are raised to understand that they are the beneficiaries of a 300-year-old business. The current Earl, Edward Cadogan, who inherited the title in 2023, took over the family business, instilling a sense of duty that is passed on to the next generation. Education at institutions like Eton is a given, but the real training is understanding the intricate workings of the estate. The future for the next generation of Cadogans is to take control of this glittering London empire. Their role will be to continue the careful curation of the estate, attracting the world's leading luxury brands while preserving the residential character of Chelsea. It's a job that requires a deep understanding of global retail trends, property law, and urban planning. They are inheriting a legacy of patient, long-term investment that has served the family for 3 centuries, and the expectation is clear: pass it on, more valuable than they found it.
Number 2. The heirs of the Bamford dynasty. Our penultimate entry represents a different, more modern stream of old money, not from ancient land, but from an industrial empire built in post-war Britain. The Bamford family, owners of the JCB construction equipment empire, have a fortune so vast it rivals the great landed aristocrats. Led by Lord Anthony Bamford, the family's net worth is estimated at a colossal £9.45 billion. While their wealth is less than a century old, the successful transfer of the business and the adoption of an aristocratic lifestyle firmly place the young Bamford heirs in the category of industrial old money. The JCB story began in a small garage in 1945 when Joseph Cyril Bamford built his first tipping trailer from war surplus metal. His son, Anthony Bamford, took over in 1975 and transformed the company from a British success story into a global manufacturing titan. Today, that iconic yellow JCB digger is recognized on construction sites worldwide. The family has retained full ownership, allowing them to accumulate staggering wealth. What truly qualifies the Bamfords as an old money dynasty is how they have used their industrial fortune. They have invested heavily in the trappings of the traditional aristocracy, land. The family owns vast estates, including the magnificent 1,700-acre Daylesford House estate in Gloucestershire. Here, Lady Carol Bamford has created Daylesford Organic, a highly fashionable brand of organic farming with high-end farm shops that are a staple for the country's elite. This fusion of industrial might with an agrarian lifestyle is the perfect modern embodiment of old money values. For the young Bamford heirs, life is a unique hybrid. They are children of industry, but also raised in the quintessential aristocratic setting of a grand country estate. They are part of a family that hosts senior politicians and royalty, but whose wealth comes from the factory floor. They are taught the value of enterprise, but also the importance of land and legacy. The future for the next generation of Bamfords is to inherit a global industrial powerhouse and a significant landed estate, steering JCB through a future of technological change while managing the family's agricultural and lifestyle businesses. And finally, at number 1 on our list, the richest and most secretive of them all, the young heirs connected to the Grosvenor dynasty. Headed by the 7th Duke of Westminster, Hugh Grosvenor, The family's wealth is almost incomprehensible, estimated at nearly £9.9 billion. This makes the Duke the UK's richest aristocrat and places him 14th on the overall UK rich list. The fortune is so vast that any children in the family are born into a world of unparalleled wealth and secrecy. The source of this staggering fortune is, simply put, London itself. The story begins in 1677 when Sir Thomas Grosvenor married a 12-year-old heiress named Mary Davis. Her dowry was not cash, but 500 acres of marshland and pasture to the west of the city of London. Today, that land is known as Mayfair in Belgravia, arguably the most expensive real estate on the planet. For over 300 years, the Grosvenor family has held and developed this land. Their portfolio, the Grosvenor Estate, now operates globally, but its heart remains those 300 acres of prime central London. Life for a young member of the Grosvenor family is the most private imaginable. The family is fiercely protective of its children, shielding them entirely from the public eye. Growing up, they would be acutely aware of their unique position. Their education would be at the most discreet and exclusive schools, their social circle tightly controlled, and their every move protected. They are raised with a profound sense of duty, taught from birth that the wealth is not theirs to squander, but a legacy to be managed for future generations. The future for any Grosvenor heir is a life mapped out by the demands of the estate. They are inheriting a global real estate operation and the stewardship of two of London's most iconic neighborhoods. They will be trained to become leaders of a complex international business with responsibilities that are as much civic as they are financial. It is the ultimate old money paradox, to possess a fortune that shapes a city, but to lead a life of deliberate, almost monastic privacy. They are born to be billionaires, but trained to be shadows. From sprawling ducal estates to the very ground beneath London's most exclusive streets, the fortunes of these 10 families are woven into the fabric of Britain. The young heirs on this list will never have to work a day in their lives, yet they are born into one of the most demanding jobs in the world, the guardianship of a dynasty. Theirs is a life of unimaginable privilege, defined not by what they can buy, but by the weight of what they must preserve. What do you think of this world of hidden wealth and inherited responsibility? Who on this list surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this look behind the curtain, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of wealth and power. Thanks for watching.